I've been working at Haven and Lock Financial for almost 6 years now, a mid-sized investment firm in downtown Columbus. The kind of place where the lights hum softly, the cubicles are all the same dead shade of gray, and the coffee machine breaks exactly twice a week. I work in compliance, which basically means I spend 8 hours a day reading emails, scanning spreadsheets, and making sure no one in the company commits a crime by accident. It's not glamorous, but it's stable, predictable, safe. At least, it was. Everything changed when the company brought in a new summer intern named Evan. He started in early June, right when our team was slammed with audits. My manager told me I'd be supervising him, which I didn't mind. Most interns are awkward, overly polite college kids desperate to prove themselves. But Evan was different. The first time I met him, he didn't shake my hand. He didn't even introduce himself. He just watched me. I was at my desk when I felt someone standing behind me. I turned around and he was there, tall and thin, wearing a button-up shirt a size too big. His hair hung over his forehead, almost covering his eyes. And he was staring at my computer screen without blinking. Hey, I said. You must be the new intern. His eyes finally moved to mine. You type fast, he whispered. Not hi. Not, I'm Evan. Not, nice to meet you. Just that. I forced a smile. Compliance is mostly typing. Come on, I'll show you around. But even as I walked him through the cubicles, he kept glancing at me the same way someone stares at a painting. Slow, absorbed, evaluating. I brushed it off. Interns can be weird. But he wasn't just weird. He was wrong. The watching. Over the next few weeks, I noticed something unsettling. Evan never took his eyes off me. If I turned around suddenly, I'd find him sitting at his borrowed desk, staring. If I got up to refill my coffee, I'd feel his eyes follow me. If I stepped into a conference room, he'd walk past and peek inside the glass window. At first I thought I was imagining it, but then one afternoon, I caught him doing something that made my skin crawl. I stepped away from my desk to grab a printed report. When I came back, Evan was sitting in my chair, scrolling through my computer. Hey, I shouted. What the hell are you doing? He jolted like he'd been shocked. But he didn't apologize. He didn't move away. He just looked up at me and said, I wanted to see how your hands move on the keyboard. What? They move different, he murmured. It's like your fingers know what to do before your brain does. I felt a chill crawl down my spine. You can't be on my computer, ever, understood? He blinked once, slowly, then nodded. I reported it to my manager. She brushed it off. He's just an awkward kid, she said. Interns get overwhelmed. But this wasn't overwhelmed. This was obsessive. The next red flag came a week later. I dropped my pen on the floor, and when I bent down to grab it, I saw something strange under Evan's desk. A notebook. Open. My name written at the top of the page. And underneath it, rows of tiny, detailed drawings of my hands. Not my face, not my workstation, not even a sketch of the office. Just my hands, typing, holding coffee, reaching for the mouse, gripping a pen, resting on the desk. At least 30 drawings, almost exact replicas of my daily movements. I froze. A cold sweat ran down my back. What kind of intern does this? I didn't confront him. I didn't want to know the answer. That night, I went home and told my girlfriend. She told me to keep my distance and talk to HR, but I didn't. I wish I had, because things were about to get much, much worse. The night he stayed late. This happened on a Thursday. We'd all been told to leave by 7 p.m. because the building was doing scheduled overnight maintenance. My plan was to finish early, grab dinner on the way home, maybe watch Netflix. Most people left by 6:30. At 6:45, I realized Evan wasn't packing up. "Hey," I said, walking over. "We gotta go. Maintenance starts soon." He didn't look up. "I'm not finished watching you." I froze. "What did you just say?" He turned his head slowly, like a puppet on strings. "I said I'm not finished with the work." "Sorry, you heard me wrong." But that's not what I heard. Those weren't the words he spoke. I was sure of it. "Okay," I said stiffly. "We're leaving. Now." He stood up slowly, grabbed his backpack and followed me out. But when I got to the elevator, I realized something terrifying. Evan was no longer behind me. He had stayed inside. Before the doors could fully close, I heard a voice echo from the dark office floor. "Your hands are the best part of you." I slammed the door open button, but the elevator kept closing. And I swear I saw him standing between the cubicles, completely still, watching me with a smile that didn't belong on a human face. Then the doors shut. The next morning, I got a call from building security. "Did you stay after hours last night?" the guard asked. "No," I said. "Why?" "You might want to come downstairs." When I reached the security office, the guard played the footage from 12:23 a.m. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. The camera showed the main office floor, rows of cubicles lit only by exit signs. Then a figure crawled into frame. Not walked, crawled. It was Evan. But he wasn't crawling like a normal person. His arms moved rigidly, his back arched unnaturally high, like his spine was bending the wrong way. He scuttled around the office floor on all fours, weaving between the cubicles, stopping at my desk again and again. At one point, he climbed into my chair and mimicked typing, his fingers tapping the air like a deranged puppet. Then he got off the chair and pressed his face against my keyboard. Pressed. Hard. The guard looked disturbed. "Is that kid okay?" "No," I whispered. "No, he's not." Then he showed me one more clip, this time from the hallway camera, outside the elevator, 2:14 a.m. The elevator doors opened with no one inside. A shadow moved at the bottom of the frame. A hand, dragging across the floor, not reaching, dragging. The guard paused the tape. "You see that?" I nodded slowly. "Yeah." But I didn't tell him the worst part. The hand looked exactly like mine. The HR meeting. The morning after I saw the security footage, I went straight to HR. I didn't care anymore about being polite or not making assumptions. A guy crawling around the office at 2 a.m. and pressing his face into my keyboard was not normal intern behavior. HR made me sit in a glass-walled conference room. The blinds were half drawn, the AC buzzing loudly above me. After 10 minutes, the HR manager, a stiff woman named Patricia, walked in holding a slim folder. "Thanks for bringing your concerns forward," she said. "We had Evan step out of the office while we talk." "Good," I muttered. We need to take this seriously. He's... Before I could finish, she slid a piece of paper across the table. It was a report. A report about me. Allegations of hostile behavior, creating a tense environment, and speaking aggressively, all from Evan. What the hell is this? I snapped. We have to consider both sides, she said calmly. Evan claims you've been, his words, fixated on him. I stared at her in disbelief. He watched me work, dug through my computer, drew my hands in a notebook, and crawled around the office in the middle of the night. But she wasn't listening. HR never listens. Look, she sighed. He's young, awkward, maybe socially anxious. Just try giving him space. Space? I almost laughed. He stares at me every second of the day. Patricia shut the folder. Please remain professional, she said. You'll both continue working together until the internship ends next month. My heart sank. A month. A full month left with that thing watching me. I walked out of the HR office furious, then froze. Evan was standing down the hall, not pacing, not pretending to work, just standing, like he'd been waiting. He smiled, a slow, sick smile that stretched too far. I walked straight past him, refusing to make eye contact. But as I passed, he whispered, I told them you watch me. His breath brushed my ear, and they believed me. The breath on my neck. That day was the worst workday of my life. Every time I looked up, he was staring. His eyes never moved. His face never changed. At 11:40 a.m., I went to refill my water bottle at the cooler. I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, deliberate. I didn't turn around, but I felt his breath, warm and close, touch the back of my neck. I spun around, ready to yell. No one was there. The hallway was empty. I swallowed hard and went back to my desk. Evan was sitting exactly where he'd been before, staring into his monitor. He hadn't moved, but I know what I felt. Someone had been standing right behind me. Someone breathing. The whispering printer. At around 3 p.m., I had to print a 20-page audit packet. The printer was in the back room, far from the cubicles. Normally, I hated going back there. It was dimly lit and always too quiet. But today, being anywhere near Evan felt worse. I slipped into the room, hit Start Print, and waited. The printer whirred loudly, spitting out pages. About halfway through the print job, the machine made a clicking sound, then another, then a slow, grinding noise. Finally, it stopped. I groaned and opened the top lid. Paper jam, of course. As I pulled the jammed page free, something strange caught my eye. Someone had written on the inner feed tray. Tiny letters scratched into the plastic. I see how your hands move. I froze. The letters were jagged, uneven, scratched with a staple or paper clip. My heart raced as I backed away from the tray. Then the printer made a sound. Not a mechanical one, a whisper, right inside the machine. Don't pull away. I ran out of the print room so fast, I nearly tripped. The final night. The next day, Friday, I decided I wasn't going back. Not after this. I typed a resignation email and left it in my drafts. My plan was to send it at 5 p.m. and walk out without looking back. But fate decided otherwise. At around 4:20 p.m., a thunderstorm rolled in. Heavy rain, lights flickering, employees packing up early. By 4:45, almost everyone had left, except me and Evan. I could feel him watching me across the cubicle maze. Every few minutes, a crack of thunder made the lights dim, and each time, I'd look up and see him a little closer. 5 o'clock hit. I grabbed my bag. It was time to leave. As I stood up, the power went out. The entire floor plunged into pitch-black darkness. I heard a soft voice in the dark. "Now I can watch your hands without distraction." I bolted. I grabbed my phone flashlight and ran toward the elevator. Rain hammered the huge windows. Thunder echoed through the building. The elevator wasn't working. Power outage. I cursed and spun toward the stairwell door. That's when I heard it. A scraping sound. Behind me. Close. Like fingernails dragging across carpet. I pointed my phone light toward the sound and froze. Evan was standing in the hallway, but his posture was wrong. His head hung sideways. His arms dangled too low. His feet were pointed inward at a painful angle. And his smile, too wide, too stretched, too human to be human. He spoke without lifting his head. "I can make my hands look like yours, you know." He lifted his arms. His fingers bent at impossible angles, bone cracking softly. Then he rushed me, not running, galloping, like a spider. I sprinted to the stairwell and slammed the door behind me. His hands hit the metal immediately, smack, 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 sliding, clawing, pounding. I ran down 3 flights before bursting out into the lobby. Security saw me first. "What the hell happened to you?" the guard shouted. I couldn't even speak. I looked back up the stairwell window. Evan was standing on the landing, still, silent, watching. Aftermath. I quit the next morning. No notice, no explanation. I blocked every number from work. HR left me 3 voicemails. My manager sent 2 emails, but I never replied. 2 weeks later, I heard the internship program was canceled due to an incident. No details given. And Evan? No one knows. He didn't return to school, didn't respond to emails, didn't pick up calls. His apartment was found empty, completely empty, except for one thing: a notebook on the floor, open to a page with detailed sketches, not of my hands, but of something worse. A pair of hands gripping the edge of a bed, my bedroom, my window, and under it, one sentence written in small, perfect letters: "Your hands move beautifully when you sleep."